Hi everyone, and welcome to day 6. I'm feeling pretty positive. We've got all the way through till the last day now. So I think at the time of recording this, I've got sort of just over 24 hours to go. So just sort of like wanting to come on and talk about a few of the things that I'm going to be thinking about over the next 24 hours as I kind of start to taper it off. But just a general update, I mean, how I'm feeling. Uh, I'm more or less as yesterday. I haven't changed a lot. Um, I mean, the amount of hunger pangs I had over the last 24 hours is probably just one or two. And the standard thing, just drank some water, and it went away after about half an hour. I did have a couple of moments where I was a little bit kind of concerned because I did um, a couple of blood sugars, as I always do in the morning, just to see how I fared overnight. One of them was just a little bit on the low side. It was 3.9, which is it's on the low side, but it's not really bad. It's not like, oh, you should stop fasting straight away. It's just on the kind of borderline between too low and low. Like, sort of the standard level is between 4 and I think 5 something. I can't remember, but 4 is on the low side, so it was just a bit under that. Anyway, I kind of monitored it, and by the time I'd had a cup of coffee and done a few things and walked around, sort of body started getting going, probably started producing food for itself from the stores of fat, and the blood sugar went up to like 4.3 or something, so it was fine. But that was the only thing that I thought might throw a spanner in the works. And obviously, if you are doing a fast, I recommend you do keep an eye on it and never get overconfident that everything's fine, because things like that can sneak up on you, especially after like a night asleep. So yeah, that seems to be fine. I haven't had any more kind of nausea attacks or anything like that. I did kind of just have a bit of a mixed sleep, really. So it was a bit nappy, and at the same time, I kind of remember having a bit of a dream, so I must have been fully asleep at some point. But I generally wake up really early when I'm fasting anyway. Just seems to be that my body wants to kind of get up with the when the sun, when it gets light. I'm very sensitive to that. So yeah, in this video, there's a couple of things I think that kind of I wanted to just touch on. One was something that I meant to touch on yesterday, but I kind of got distracted waffling on. But that was on the how you get a bit of a clean burn when you're fasting. When I say clean burn, I mean it's like the fuel that you move over to using is very different to the one that you're usually using, which is like carbohydrates in the most part. So the one that you're using when you're fasting is they're called ketones, and they're basically generated by the process of your body converting fat stores back into a sort of source of fuel. A source of food. It's stored. It is a source of fuel. Yeah, something that you can kind of burn to for your body to function, basically all of the functions of it. But it is stored as fat, and when you don't eat anything, when you're fasting, that is taken out of the fat store, and that's put on the fire basically, and the type of material that it's converted into for the body to use is a ketone. That's the name for it. Now the difference is when you're burning ketones, it's not the same as when you're just normally, it's not a straight comparison. It's actually a lot cleaner. It's coming from your body. So if you can imagine, like, your body is kind of stored it. It's already kind of refined it, hasn't it? It's gone through the liver in order to be stored as fat. So whatever it was before, all of its, constitution has been broken down, and it now is stored as a kind of pure form that everybody's body, ultimately turns it into to store it as fat. So in a way, it's in its most natural state. It's already been refined, it's already been processed by your own body. So when you then take it out of the fat stores and burn it, and that goes to your brain, it goes to your organs, it goes to all of your body, just muscles, everything. People talk about it being a very clean burn. And that was one thing that I wanted to mention yesterday. And it's really hard to sort of describe what that means, but I can tell you that when you're sort of running on ketones, you feel very clean. I just can't really, it's very hard to put it into words. It's something that you'll notice though. It's like, you'll be like, oh, I feel kind of like very kind of like this. I'm not having any dips. It's just a straight kind of like, like you're plugged into the wall, like it's just a straight line of sort of electricity, and it's just very pure. Your body feels very clean. I could probably say, like, if you get out of the bath and you've just literally cleaned yourself and you've had a lovely bath and you get out of the bath, you just feel clean, don't you? Whereas, if you had to try and describe that, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? But you know what clean feels like, and it's like that when you're burning ketones. So it's a really nice thing to look forward to when you're fasting. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was the importance of insulin, because when I'm monitoring my blood sugars, the reason that we do that when we're fasting is because insulin is the hormone that is sort of impacted by when we put things in our mouth and we eat things, and there's a lot of sugar in the bloodstream. And so consequently, when we stop eating and we stop putting things in our mouth, the insulin is kind of like, it has to sort of take a pause basically, and the pancreas is not being signalled to do any work. Now that's a good thing actually, because one of the things that can happen when we're just in normal life, normal eating, is that we can become quite resistant to insulin. And what that means in a practical sense is that over time we kind of keep calling on insulin, like we're turning the hot water on and calling on the boiler. We call on insulin, it comes along, and then it has to kind of adjust. Oh, was it enough? Was it too much insulin? Was it not enough insulin? And the next time it makes an adjustment and it thinks I'll send a bit more out or a bit less out. And what can happen over time is if we're eating snacks all the time and just, like everyone, a typical diet that's not healthy, that I did for most of my life, and everyone else does. It's just, a diet that you're on when you're not thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? You grab a coffee, grab a sandwich at lunch, a packet of crisps, those sort of things, those little snacks and those little, eating intervals through the day, they mess up, they kind of change the baseline of the insulin response to blood sugar. And what can happen then is that you might end up in a situation where if you're a bit of a sugar junkie and you eat loads and loads of sort of junk food, you could, not even loads of junk food, just a lot of carbs and whatever it might be, and little snacks. If you're a snacky person as well, it definitely applies to them. The insulin is going to become more and more intense. Like there'll be more insulin, literally more released by the pancreas, and it will take more and more to sort of bring that blood sugar down, right? Because if you have blood sugar just in your system and it's not dealt with by insulin, you can get really, really sick and die. Basically, it's like diabetics, can end up with ketoacidosis, and it's like, it's fatal basically for a lot of people. I mean, it will damage your organs, damage your eyesight. A lot of diabetics are just, they have terrible trouble with multiple problems throughout their bodies, all because of the blood sugar not being controlled. So what I would say is, learning about the response of your insulin to food is going to be really, really important to sort of see how this fast has worked out for you, because that's one of the most really strong parts of the fast, is that it can help to reset that response. So if you're one of those people that's got really, really sort of bad insulin resistance, and you find yourself putting on weight when you think you've hardly eaten anything, that kind of thing. The fasting is going to really, really help with that. It's going to bring down the amount of insulin that is delivered when it's called upon. So you bring your blood sugars down by fasting, and then your insulin response is going to be less, and then the insulin's going to kind of remember, the pancreas is going to remember, I didn't need to dish out as much insulin. It's like a muscle, you know, if you know what I mean, muscle memory. It's a bit like that with this particular biological process, and it will kind of track a trend, if you know what I mean. So basically, when you get to the point where your insulin is less and less and less, there's less metabolization of the sugars into fat. A lot of it is just put, you know, it can let some of the other stuff go through your system. An over active pancreas dishing out loads of insulin is going to take so much more of that sugar and convert it into fat, because it's just more insulin. It's like the volume of insulin is higher. So worth remembering that basically fasting is a kind of way of resetting your blood sugar response. So just wanted to mention that. The other thing about blood sugar is that it's something called the dawn effect, which is really, really, it's quite interesting as you sort of monitor your blood sugars over the week. You'll start to see this. Like, say you get up at like 7 a.m. and you do a finger prick test. You'll see that there's a sort of slight rise in the blood sugar, and it's like, well, I didn't eat anything, you know, like I haven't eaten anything since like my dinner yesterday, like, you know, so why has my blood sugar gone up? No, and it's literally because your body is kind of getting you ready for the day, and it does all sorts of things like that. Like, it's got a certain kind of circadian rhythm to like I said, you know, it's in sync with the time outside, the light. You can be very sensitive to these things like I am. And one of the things I didn't realise is that because of this dawn effect, when it's 7 in the morning, if you get up and have a big breakfast, like big fry up or something, not even a fry up, but just breakfast, if you get up and have something to eat at that time, then obviously your blood sugar's higher, there's some sort of connection to the pancreas, and more insulin might be released, and therefore you're gonna convert more of those available sugars in the blood into fat cells. So when you eat is critical. It's as critical as how much you eat. And I think it's something that catches a lot of people out, and I think we can all relate to that. I mean, I certainly would, for many, many years, was someone who had to get up and have something to eat as soon as I got out of bed, and a cup of coffee, and then, you know, get on my way. And this is something that is really interesting, learning about this process, because if you just wait a few hours until maybe like mid-morning, the blood sugar's kind of tapered off a bit by then, and then, you know, your insulin response might be lower. So bear that in mind. The other thing is just generally like what you're eating. You know, I mean, I've just ordered a load of fish from the supermarket. It's been delivered this morning, all frozen stuff. So for the rest of this month, I'm already thinking about when my fast finishes, like what am I going to be eating? How am I going to break my fast? I'll talk a bit more about that sort of tomorrow, but I mean, essentially you must be really careful not to, especially if you've gone for 7 days, you must be really careful not to have like a big carb loaded feast. Just, you've got to really, like, it's called refeeding, and you've got to be very, very gentle, right? You've got to say, okay, I'm just going to start off with maybe a little bit of butter, maybe a boiled egg. I use a bit of MCT oil that I spoke about in a previous video, just to sort of wake the stomach up, because all your stomach and microbiome has got to be repopulated. So generally the process is to wake it up. It's been in hibernation for a week. You wake it up with a little bit of fat, So some fats, healthy fats, like maybe like MCT oil or a bit of butter, good butter. Not, I can't believe it's not butter. And just sort of generally, like, you know, just give it a little, like you would wake someone up who's been sleeping all night. It's like, you know, slowly rouse the stomach. And then the next thing you want to do is about 2 hours later, you want to maybe give it something just to kind of populate the gut with some bacteria. So things like sauerkraut are great. Any fermented vegetable, or a sort of, you know, fermented yogurt like kefir or something like that. Something that's got good bacteria in it, because that's going to be your new biome, your new home. And it's really important. You've kind of cleared out your microbiome. You're kind of repopulating it now. So in the second hour, just something like a healthy yogurt, or good quality yogurt, or some sauerkraut, right? And then about 2 hours after that, or 3 hours after that, you can maybe have a little bit of kind of protein. Like I'm going to have some fish, some wild salmon that I'm going to steam, and just gently give it some protein to start building on that base that you've made in the stomach. And if you do that, and you do it over like the first day of refeeding, you just got to kind of make that a day of really kind of self-care. You know, don't just go hell for leather and have like a pizza or something, because you could get really, you know, rough on that. But anyway, just bear it in mind. But the other thing is, sleep is so important. Once you start to kind of, even though you've just done this fast and you think, oh, I'm going to feel great and everything, you got to let your body adjust, and like really, like maybe for that day, you got to start to kind of like really sort of give yourself some extra sleep. As I said, I use a bit of melatonin cream that's got magnesium in it, and it just helps me a little bit, just to kind of be a bit more rested. Yeah. So I mean, overall, I think it's going well. I think I've lost a bit of weight. To be honest with you, I haven't weighed myself, but I mean, I feel a little bit like my trousers feel a little bit kind of easier, you know. But to be honest with you, I think if you really want to do that thing and you're so like totally focused on the weight side, then obviously you're going to want to weigh yourself before and sort of, you know, afterwards. I mean, as a general rule of thumb, people say that you can lose like, I don't know, like something like 5 or 6 pounds, is it? I think maybe you lose more, but what happens is you lose a lot of water, and a lot of glycogen in the liver has gone. So as soon as you start eating, a lot of that's naturally going to go on, because your liver's empty essentially of glycogen, which is like a sort of halfway process between that and putting it into fat. You know, it's like whatever's sort of, it's like a cache of energy that's sitting there. So that has to be filled up again, refilled. And so you'll always, you know, you can't help it. You've kind of emptied yourself out. So whatever you weigh at the end of the fast is just to kind of like, forget it. You're going to probably have about another, you know, 3 or 4 pounds go on, because it's just going to be food, glycogen in your liver, water. But I mean, you know, you will lose a few pounds. That's great. And obviously, the ongoing thing, if you want to lose weight ongoing after the main fast, then you should maybe think about doing like an intermittent fasting routine, like something like 18-6 is great. You know, that means just stopping eating at like 6 o'clock all the way through till midday the next day. I mean, you know, it's like, it sounds really bad, but it's actually not. And it's just cutting out all the snacking and late eating and stuff like that, really. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, I think that's all I had to cover for today. But if you've reached it to the end of the video and you've been following along, much appreciated. And yeah, please like and subscribe. I think I'm planning to do a few more videos after the fast, just to sort of, as an ongoing thing really, about how I'm getting on, and sort of maybe going more into the intermittent fasting, because I'm looking at that as a sort of lifestyle change, as well as the dry January that I'm going to try and do. I say try because, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm probably less focused on that than I am on doing the main fast. The main fast is like, it's investing in your body, investing in your health. And obviously dry January is a great thing to do, but you know, I don't know if I'm as committed, but I'll give it a go. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and as I say, yeah, please like and subscribe, and tune in for the next one. All right, all the best. Cheers.